Welcome to Breakpoint, the ServiceNow Developer Podcast.
Hello, ServiceNow admins, builders, developers, and curious individuals I say with the utmost love and respect. Welcome back to the Breakpoint Podcast, ServiceNow's developer podcast, here to give you all the latest tools, tips, and tradecraft to accelerate your career. My name is Laura McManaman. I am your host for today, but lucky for me, I am never alone on these podcasts. I am always accompanied by some of the most amazing members of our ServiceNow community. So let's welcome to the podcast, Mr. David Murch. How are you doing today?
Doing very well. How about yourself?
Well, you know what? I'm doing a lot better. A little bit of background baseball on this episode. We were supposed to record about a week ago, and I got ultra mega COVID. So if I'm a little sniffly today, I apologize for any of those like really big audio files. If any of that, it's totally on my behalf, but I'm feeling a lot better and super excited to be recording with you here today, David.
Good to hear that. I'm looking forward to this conversation as well.
Awesome. Well, let's kind of tee up the conversation. Let's start, we both have the pleasure of working for ServiceNow. So let's talk about your role as one of the inbound product managers here.
Yeah, so I joined ServiceNow just over 6 years ago, and I've been on the same team the entire time. So I'm on the mobile platform team. And for those that might not be familiar, when we say mobile platform here at ServiceNow, we're talking about the part of the core platform that focuses on the mobile applications that ServiceNow can deliver to our customers.
Yes.
It's a complete, it's a low code, no code platform. You can build a complete mobile app without needing to code, although we have advanced capabilities with like scripting and things like that kind of let you do a little bit more. But yeah, I've been on the team since I started. I am working out of the Chicago office, but I live in Northwest Indiana. And my primary role is building our developer tools. So we've got a suite of tools: mobile app builder, mobile card builder, mobile publishing. And I work with the team that has designed, developed, and released those products, over the last 5-6 years. Our primary goal is to make mobile platform configuration and development as easy as possible. And we've been working our way towards that goal. And it's one of those never-ending targets that we're always trying to improve on.
Well, it's been so interesting to see how the mobile landscape has changed. I'm similar to you. Like I've worked at ServiceNow a bit long, and so I've seen, initially the mobile app was just like, hey, we can show a form and a list on the app, but you always have to be online. You can never ever do anything offline. But it was the app, it worked. But it's been radical to see it transform into not only something that you see with like field service providers using more heavily with like the offline capabilities and basically using what like a phone would add to a use case, but also see it transform into its own existing well-branded application. Like these apps I've been on ServiceNow mobile apps before, not knowing they were our own mobile apps, which is a huge credibility to how well we can become enmeshed in these corporate brands nowadays with all the functionality your team delivers on.
Yeah, and that's all through the power of our mobile publishing product, which is again one of the builder tools we have. It's an admin tool, but it lets our customers take our core capabilities for mobile, but put their custom branding, their own logos, their own colors, and even renaming it in the App Store and doing the distribution that they want through the iOS and Android app stores.
It's been very cool. So prior to joining, so you've been here 6 years. It's quite a bit a long time now. But prior to joining ServiceNow, were you also doing mobile tooling for developers, or is this a new frontier?
Yes and no. So I've actually got a background in mechanical engineering.
No way!
And
very cool.
Yeah, I started my career in technical sales for a large industrial automation company. And very quickly realized I did not want to be in sales. It was not as much engineering and more sales than originally pitched. So I pivoted. I found a small company on the south side of Chicago that was building safes.
No way, really?
metal box with a lock on it, right?
Yeah.
But the work I was doing there was around computer controlled money counting safes. So so we were counting money as it was going into the safe, transmitting that data to armored car companies before they came and did the pickups. So it's kind of like a closed loop ecosystem for money transmission and banking.
Fascinating.
So that's kind of where I could claim that I started my mobile journey, because the software for those were on little 6-inch touchscreens. So we had to be designing the user interface for that for a small footprint to be intuitive, because the types of people that were using the product are high school kids working at Taco Bell or 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like we didn't have a lot of opportunity for training and advanced use cases.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's where I got into software development and actually started my evolution from engineering into product management.
Mm-hmm.
I was there for 9 years, learned a lot, got to travel the world, went to Southeast Asia a couple of times for supply chain items, got to go to France, places like that. But then eventually my time there ended, and I tried the whole, running a business with some friends thing, and that was okay. But then I had kids, and that totally changes your world. So it was
Yeah.
like, was looking for a little bit more stability in work and income, and actually started working at Rand McNally, the old map
Oh yeah.
company. Yeah,
Yeah.
and when I was there, I was working on their, what a lot of people might not realize is they are heavily invested in semi truck hour and location tracking.
Makes
So there's
sense.
a whole suite of regulations for how many hours a day drivers can be on the road, how long the rest periods have to be,
Mm-hmm.
and they have to record all of that. So Rand McNally has software and automation for keeping track of all of that. So we have a tablet-sized software, and then a web portal to go in and let admins and such like manage the devices and the vehicles and things of that nature. So that's really where I truly got into mobile development on Android and iOS, and kind of the back end management of it.
And never look back. And stuck with
Nope,
it until now. Well,
nope,
that's awesome. That's a fascinating work history to see how it's pivoted and changed,
yeah,
but also there's like a through line kind of through all of these, engagements that you've had.
yeah,
Do you also, any fun personal hobbies or interests outside of the big corpo machine?
yeah. No, I do. I love being outside. I'm a bit of a, I've never let go of the mechanical engineer handyman side of me. I grew up in a small town, and my parents owned a hardware store. So I
Ah,
like tinkering with things. I like trying to fix stuff that I can. I love being outside.
mhm.
Camping, hiking, hunting, that sort of stuff. But I think the most interesting thing is probably my newest hobby.
Do tell.
Um, I'm 44 years old, and I just bought my first skateboard.
No way. Are
Yeah,
you kidding me? That's awesome. What made you
well,
get into skateboarding?
my daughter.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. She's 6, and our town opened up a skate park about a year and a half ago,
Yeah.
and she was asking about it and asking about it, and then we found out that the Parks and Rec district was doing skate lessons.
Hmm.
So she's been through 2 months of skate lessons, and I kept taking her there and watching. I was like, this would be an
Okay.
opportunity to spend time with her, and probably would be good for me from like a balance perspective, a
Yeah.
keeping young perspective. So yeah, I got a skateboard about a month ago, and her and I'll take her to her lessons, and then we'll hang out a little bit afterwards and have some daddy daughter skate time.
Is it hard? Especially as an adult, is it
It
hard to pick up?
Yeah, it's, and again, I'm past my athletic prime for sure, but it
Don't count
just,
yourself out.
yeah, it's just balancing, right? Like I have no intention of learning how to do jumps and spins
No
and things like
900s
that.
for you.
No, no. I just want to be able to kind of like cruise around the park with her and do some simple stuff. But I find that going going forward is easy. Like your
Yeah.
dominant hand forward is easy, but
Mhm.
non-dominant foot, non-dominant hand forward is, there's gonna be a lot of work there.
I've never done any board sports. I've only done two planes for my
Oh,
feet. I've
like
done
skiing
skiing,
and
figure
rollerblading and
skating,
things. Yeah,
rollerblading.
yeah,
So having them buckled together already is a no-go for me. So kudos to you for having the bravery to try that in your 40s. Okay. Well, let's dive straight into the real meat and potatoes of why we're having you on, because you and your team, as well as the developer advocates that have worked in conjunction on this big project called C3. So if you
Yeah.
attended
Yep.
CreatorCon in Las Vegas, or if you attended CreatorCon in India, or recently attended the World Forum in Sydney, you probably saw a lot of people walking around with these. I brought mine out. So hey, audio listeners, this is one of the reasons why using the YouTube one is fun, is that you get to see what these oh, you brought yours.
Oh
Perfect.
yeah. Oh yeah.
So tell us a little about what is C3 from the man himself who helped make it.
Well, I mean, you're like you said, it was a big team effort.
Yes.
Your peers in the developer advocacy group came to me February or March, specifically Christy Miriam,
Yeah.
and said that the plan was to put together this collectible card game for knowledge, and could we do something on our mobile app to gamify it really? And we saw it on the mobile platform as an awesome opportunity to show people what our mobile platform can do. For me personally, with the role that I'm in, like having to focus on making the configuration experience easier and more intuitive, it's always good for me to figure out new ways to do things and explore. So it was a big time win-win. And when Christy first brought it up, it was like, yeah, let me help you out with that. So it took about a month or so until I started working with the team, but it was a lot of, here's what we want to do from a use case, user flow experience perspective. Can we do that on mobile? And then I would kind of work on putting together like a prototype or a concept. I spent a lot of time talking with my peers on the mobile PM team and our engineers just to kind of figure out, hey, I'm trying to do this. We should be able to do it, but I'm running into problems. So big time group effort to get the mobile app up and running. And, I'm super happy with the way it's worked. Do you want to get into any more details on exactly what we're doing in the app or the approaches we took to putting it together?
Yeah, so let me cover a little bit the use case just for
Yeah.
the people that didn't attend. So essentially
Mm-hmm.
what the developer advocates are always trying to do is make the experience of attending these events more community oriented. And so we wanted to create an application that would incentivize people to connect with one another, to, talk with one another more often than they would just regular strangers at another conference. And so the idea behind this was using some technology. You would take a photo, it would create a very cool like AI generated avatar based off some prompts that you added in about yourself. It would create a collectible card that would then be printed out live at Knowledge or live at the World Forum that you could then use and trade with other people, and also get some collectible rewards as well. And so to facilitate this without the use of mobile, in my opinion, would probably have been impossible. There would have been no way. I mean, how would you scan? How would you connect with friends? How would you even create the avatar in the first place unless we had kiosks? And so having this be a mobile dependent initiative was mandatory for this to happen at all. And what I think was really wonderful about it too is that it leaned on what mobile applications uniquely add to a use case. Because think about all the technology that exists in the palm of your hand that isn't as accessible even on a laptop. So if you're walking around with your laptop, what are you going to do? Use your laptop camera? No, it's silly. So having the offline capabilities for the ridiculously bad Wi-Fi we always have at conferences, having the ability to take multiple selfies or import one that they liked personally from a set that they liked, and also the ability to use QR codes and things like that. So it was really, really wonderfully done. And also what I couldn't believe was how quickly it all came together. Like you said, it started in February. The conference is in May. All this though had to be done by April because we had to have specific things ordered. We had to know what, the cards looked like and talk with the manufacturer of those. So first of all, I wanted to start with saying a huge, huge, huge kudos to both you and my teammates that worked on this project, because it really came together beautifully. It was really fun to participate in.
Yeah, it was really fun to build, and it was a lot of fun at the show. I would agree with that 100%.
Yeah. Well, tell me about the back end for the mobile aspect, because I've talked about the use case a lot, but not necessarily how this all kind of comes together.
Right. So, the technical side of it is we have the back end data, right? So the user profiles, the images that they selected, the avatars that got generated, and then there was also a table for the interactions. I
Yes.
scan your card, you scan my card, the scanning the check-in places around knowledge. So I believe they were doing it at the World Forum, but I don't know if they
Yeah.
did it in India, where they had little kiosks around the event, and you can go scan those in, and like other popular mobile games, you can try and own that space, right? You get put on a team, and you try and have your team own that space by checking in the most amount of times. So the gameplay I thought was fun and a good way to get people to interact. I think from the perspective of when I first started working on it,
Mhm.
having that idea and then trying to figure out how to accomplish it with our app, because our app is generally focused on work tasks,
Yeah.
right?
That's the other thing
There's
too. Yeah.
Yes, there's not a lot of gamification. There's it's more about presenting data, than images in a lot of
Of course.
situations.
Yeah.
So it's one of those where theoretically it's all possible, but I nor any of my teammates or anybody on the mobile platform team had ever put together an app in that context with, I guess, like the styling and um, the styling, the look and feel, that sort of thing. So it took a little bit of deconstructing to figure that out, and it took a lot of good back end work to make sure that um, the unlocks that you could get, that data was working in the background, that the images looked good, that we had them optimized for a mobile app as well.
Very cool. Was there a
Yeah,
particular part of this that was the hardest to develop behind the scenes? Like, was there a part where you're like, oh my gosh, I never want to do that again? Or that was
yeah,
enlightening of like, oh, I'd really never realized how far we could stretch that functionality.
yeah. There was actually, I'd call out three.
Ooh,
The first one being when, and I can kind of show it up on screen, right? So like when you're in
yes.
the mobile app, there's a scan button, and you hit
Hmm.
that button, and it opens up a QR code scanner, because then you can scan the app.
Hmm.
To do that efficiently and effectively requires scripting, which I had no idea. No idea. I'm a product manager, mechanical engineer background. Never have I coded.
Yeah.
So that's where I had to lean on Christy. Like Christy was every bit as involved in developing the mobile app side of this as I was. So it's a matter of like I'm sitting there trying to explain to her how mobile functions work and how you have to connect the function record to the form record and how the data flows, and then running into a wall where it's like, and we need to get all that through the script. So can you figure out how to do the script?
Yeah.
And she's running off and doing documentation. We're getting close. We're kind of getting half of it to work. I'm running back to our back end team to be like, hey, this is almost working, but this isn't happening. So a lot of coordination there
Hmm.
that, again, like there's no way I would have been able to do that on my own. The other aspects are when we were showing these cards, like
Yes.
being able to get a good visualization of the card across multiple different mobile devices. I think
Yeah.
that's one of the biggest complexities with mobile development is having something that looks good on like a iPhone XL all the way down to an old Android or an old iPhone that's on a much smaller format. So
Mhm.
having to play around with like these cards are the image here is the image that we use for the trading card, but then it is being displayed in what we call a mobile card. And that's just one of the components we have on our mobile platform. So getting that mobile card to behave nicely, to show the image without stretching it too far or squishing it down too short based on the phone size, that was super frustrating. That
Yeah.
absolutely didn't work the way I expected it to. So it was me learning a little bit deeper knowledge on our mobile platform on how those configurations need to be manipulated. Um, but in the end, I think we were successful in getting that to work. And then I think the third thing, and this is something I'd really like to highlight because I think it's an aspect of you can do this on our platform, but maybe people wouldn't know that you could. And
Hmm.
that's just the styling of it, right? So
Yeah.
like this is our normal, this is like our out of the box mobile app, right?
Yeah.
White background, horizontal dividers between all the sections, a dark blue header at the top.
It
And
looks like
then
ServiceNow. Yeah. It
it is
looks, yeah.
exactly, it looks just like ServiceNow, but that is what we put out, right? It's a much, everything's blue, dark blue, a flatter design. We don't have those dividers in there. And that was another thing where it's at the start of the project, I knew it was theoretically possible,
Yeah.
but I had never done it before. I knew where to start. Like the way that all works at ServiceNow is we have theming files,
Yes.
and yeah, so the way you theme your website on ServiceNow,
Mhm.
those theme records flow down into mobile, but it's not a one-to-one. Like the web theming records have thousands of color variables in them, like 1100, 1200 color variables. And those, we don't need that many in mobile. I think we use 75 or 80.
Mm.
And so it was a matter of, in the mobile app, the different UI elements that are in the mobile app, how do those map to the color variables in the theme record, in the mobile styles theme record? And then what do I need to reference from the top level style record to get the colors that I want? So that and this was in one of this learning experiences where came out of this, the whole mobile platform came out of it and said, well, it's really cool that we can do that, but nobody's going to know how to do it. We need to probably create some new educational content to let people know that there's these capabilities, because there's a Figma file you have to look at. There's a mobile color style record that you have to look at. And then there's the UX theme JSON styles that you have to look at, and then kind of map things between all three of those.
Yeah.
Really not that difficult once you understand what you're doing, but figuring out how that spider web is all connected was definitely a challenge. But also, in my mind, like when I finished it up, I was pretty happy, pretty proud of myself for
No
having
kidding.
reverse
Well,
engineered that. Yeah.
I saved this story because I wanted to surprise you with something. One of my favorite conversations from Knowledge, I was talking with a couple of ServiceNow peers from my
Mm-hmm.
days in solution consulting, and they were in management. And I was showing them the C3 app, and they're like,
Okay.
"Wow, like what vendor do you guys on marketing like have access to?" And I go, "What do you mean?" They go, "Well, like, so fun fact, when you're at Knowledge and you're using the events app,
Yeah.
we didn't make it." But
Right.
they assumed, because of how great it looked, how smoothly everything was operating, that like, surely we just paid someone to make it. I was like, surely we probably should have paid the people that made it to make it. But that's a huge, just to think that like they thought we had hired some big fancy marketing team to produce it was pretty cool.
And I think that also highlights the challenge that we always have about what ServiceNow can do. The platform is so powerful. How do we share that with people? Because our when I held up that first mobile app, you're like, yeah, it looks like a ServiceNow app. Because ServiceNow has a style all its own.
It does.
And our capabilities are marketed and sold to enterprise companies, right?
Mm-hmm.
But our platform is built to be able to do, to provide those capabilities to companies across so many different industries that have so many different requirements for their own styling, their own look and feel, all that our underlying platform has the capability to handle all of those. But we don't always have the opportunity to show like these unique ways of doing it, these unique use cases, because we're always kind of focused on our standard demo look and feel.
Yeah, it's like driving one of those supercars like in a suburban neighborhood. You're like, it could go
Right.
like 200 miles an hour, but we got to go 30 most of the time.
Yes, that's a good way of putting it.
But also, that was one of the questions that I had was, from all the people that participated in using it, that they use, let's say that they maybe they tried mobile app development, pre SkyGiraffe, and are like, oh, I haven't really touched it since. And SkyGiraffe was an acquisition that we made that revolutionized our mobile platform.
It was the foundation for the current platform that we have.
Yeah, but is there anything that you would like people to walk away from their experience with C3 feeling inspired to do?
Yeah, and I tried to highlight this to everybody I talked to at Knowledge. It is look at what we can do. Look at don't be afraid of the styling. Don't be afraid of, the limitations. Don't go in expecting limitations, but don't be afraid to try. Again, I'm a product manager, right? And yes, I absolutely needed Christy's help in a lot of areas, specifically around, the data capture, the data, scanning, the functions that allowed us to do the scanning and show the data
Yeah.
and things like that. But what we have today, I'm confident in saying I was able to build 80% of it.
Yeah.
As a product manager that doesn't know how to code. The platform is very, very powerful. It is, I don't want to say challenging, like it's a different language,
It
right? Our
is.
mobile
Yes.
platform schema is a different language, but if you take the time, if you give yourself the time to learn it,
Mm-hmm.
it's very simple once you learn it. And
Mm-hmm.
so, I would hope that people walk away saying like, wow, it's really cool what you can do. I'd like to experiment with it and have the confidence to try experimenting with it, with the knowledge that someone like me can build an app like that.
Absolutely. And what a great message too, especially for such a fun use case. I've always found like when people who write labs and build content or like the hack zone, for example, I feel like
Yeah.
the most inspirational things that we can provide to our customers are those like really weird edge use cases so that they think, well, if they're using ServiceNow for that,
Right.
certainly we could use it for, our local company's use case that's,
Mm-hmm.
very similar to something else we're already doing on ServiceNow.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
because I have you captive, I have to ask, and feel free to deflect, are there any upcoming details for any V2 improvements to C3?
Yeah. I don't know if there's any specifics I can provide other than we're happy with how well received it is.
Yeah.
So I know that, your team, the dev advocacy team, wants to keep it going. The mobile team absolutely wants to keep helping to support it. We've been doing, through the different events that we've had since Knowledge, we've made some improvements to it just to make it flow a little bit more smoothly, give more information to the users. We learned at Knowledge, for example, that just having a simple status update once the card was ready for pickup
Mm-hmm.
wasn't necessarily enough. We had a lot of people coming around saying like, "Is my card ready? Do you know how much longer?" So we've worked some of
Yeah.
that into it. Yeah. And I know that there's been continued work to update the gamification of it, like more unlocks, just more fun stuff going on inside the app. So we're going to keep doing that, keep improving it in those aspects. And I would imagine that I'm going to circle back around at some point and see, there's a couple ideas I have for just, again, making the UX a little bit tighter, a little bit cleaner looking in certain areas. Some of the some of like the scorecards and reports that we have in there, maybe make those a little fancier or a little bit more interactive to drill down into. But as far as like major uh, capabilities that are being added, we'll have to wait and see what the team comes up with and ideas for improvement.
Well, stay tuned because that's the other
Yeah.
thing too. Is it's very rare, that we joke that we spend all these time and energy building stuff for knowledge, and then it just dies with knowledge. So
Yeah.
the fact that this is living on and has plans to can be continued on
Right.
beyond Knowledge 25 is a huge testament to its success. So if anything, we're very excited to see how we're also going to be using it at the upcoming season of World Forum. So if you're attending any of the local World Forums, keep an eye out for the C3 experience.
Yeah.
You won't want to miss it.
Yeah. And I believe I will be at the Chicago World Forum.
Oh, fantastic. And that's the first one for the fall, I believe, correct? It's in September 18th.
Sounds good to me.
I'll check this in post. If I'm wrong, I'll put it in right here. Okay. Well, speaking of, the fall and time passing, it's hard to believe that it's already time for another release of ServiceNow, and a pretty auspicious one, the end of the alphabet, the Zurich release. You've already helped our team substantially again with prepping for our Tech Now webinar, which will be airing the day after this episode comes out. So if you're listening to this Breakpoint episode, what are you doing if you have not registered for the Tech Now webinar? You can do so at devlink.sn/TN100reg. So please tune in because that's going to be covering all of the latest tools, features, enhancements coming out for developers in Zurich. And there are a whole host of them coming out for both the mobile app builder as well as the mobile SDK. So
Mhm.
let's start at the kind of the top level as a, a product from a product management standpoint. I always sense there's kind of like a theme to a release. So is there kind
Yeah.
of like a prioritized theme for all the facets of mobile this time around?
Yeah, you're connecting there because on the mobile platform side. So again, there's what the platform can do, the capabilities that exist in the mobile application,
Mm-hmm.
and then there is what does the user experience inside the builder allow you to do, right?
Yes.
How easy is it to build those things? So from the mobile platform perspective, the theme for the last two releases really has been Gen AI, shockingly.
Whoa,
And,
no.
yeah. And improvement to our mobile forms.
Yes.
So we are constantly adding in more Gen AI capabilities, and essentially just we're mirroring or pulling in the web capabilities. So for example, like in Zurich, we've added Now Assist Enhanced Chat into the mobile app, agentic AI workflows in the Assist Chat, native assistant integration, and Now Assist Siri integration on iOS.
Nice.
So really, we're trying to make sure that if there's a Gen AI end user experience on web, that we're getting it into mobile, and we're trying to do that in real time. There's going to be a bit of a lag, but that's really what the focus is for Gen AI in mobile. Even in Yokohama and Zurich, and continuing forward. And then on the form side, right, we've been continuing to enhance the capabilities there to make our mobile input forms more robust and handle more use cases. So traditionally, it was a modal that would pop up and you could fill in the fields. Maybe there was multiple pages, but you had to fill it in and submit it at the end. So in Yokohama and Zurich, what we've been doing to enhance that is being able to open up those forms as a complete page to fill out the entire screen. And I think that's a bigger deal when you're working on a tablet than it is on a mobile phone, just because you could get more into that space on the device.
Yeah,
But
like double the real estate.
Yeah, exactly. But one of the big things is the ability to save your progress. So if you're filling out a form that is, say for one of the new use cases we've gone into is industrial connected workers. Somebody on a shop floor that is filling out a questionnaire for machine maintenance. And that questionnaire could be 20, 30, 40 pages long. They're probably not going to sit there and do it all in one fell swoop and hit submit and be done. They want to be able to save their progress.
Yeah.
So they can do that now. We have progress indicators that we've added in, it's like you're on page 5 of 10, those types of things. So we've also added the ability to get more, to have more descriptive information in those, right? So rather than just a list of inputs on the screen, more information about what each input is. Step instructions can be put in there. Again, this like manufacturing, industrial use case, being able to break things into sections, just make it a little bit more organized for a workbook type experience rather than just I'm quickly filling in a form for an incident or a request.
Yeah. The one thing too that I've seen consistently throughout mobile as it's improved is I feel like it's becoming less and less mandatory to be trained on the app.
Right.
I feel like more and more so it is pretty much, I can figure this out, by myself, or using, like you said, the helpful hints or anecdotes added in throughout the application to guide users through it. So hearing all that added in addition to what I was already feeling about its current state, I was like, wow, it's amazing to see.
Yeah, I think we've been doing a lot of good work there.
Do you have a favorite feature in Zurich?
Well, like on the platform side, I like what we're doing with the forms. It's opening up more and more use cases. Just makes our mobile apps more capable of handling what our business units are looking for from a use case perspective.
Pretty insane to have that amount coming. Is that all coming out with the general availability, or is that staggered across the store releases as well?
Actually, that'll all come out in early availability.
Woo! Oh, would love to hear that.
Yeah,
That's one of my favorite things about mobile is that also it is one of the features that you can play around with on PDIs. Correct me if I'm wrong.
correct. Yep.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
if you are really interested in all this functionality, all these inspirational stories you're hearing about mobile app builder and the mobile SDK, I highly encourage you to download a PDI, a personal developer instance. Um, as of usually the day of early access, which is the same day we do Tech Now,
Mhm.
usually PDIs become available for the latest release. It might be a little bit delayed as well. It happened on Friday, the last release instead of Thursday, but keep your eye out because you can test all these things that he just mentioned as soon as they are available. What
Right.
a blessing. Very, very
Right.
cool to have that availability.
So, you had mentioned earlier, you'd asked about SDK, right? We
Yes.
do have an SDK for mobile that allows our customers to take ServiceNow data and bring it into their own bespoke mobile applications, right?
Mhm.
Not at mobile apps off the ServiceNow platform, but they've gone to a third party and had someone custom build them a mobile app. They
Mhm.
want to bring ServiceNow data in. So that's what our SDK is for. In the last release cycle, what we added in there was plug and play capabilities for Now Assist, through the SDK. So that's another big area, right? That's allowing us to get our Gen AI capabilities on the platform into our customers' apps if they're not using our ServiceNow apps.
Yes.
Yep. And then the other aspect, right, is again my heart and soul, which is the mobile builder experiences. And we've done a lot of good work there over the last couple of releases, you know, and Zurich is no exception. So, for the developers out there that might be familiar with ServiceNow Studio, we have finished our integration with ServiceNow Studio, and you'll be able to access mobile app builder seamlessly there in the Zurich
Awesome.
release. We've also enabled the ability to turn on and off light and dark mode. So
Mm,
as a developer, if you want to be working on your mobile apps in a dark theme rather than with the bright lights on of the light theme, we have that ability. And that's actually somewhat tied into another feature that we've added in the mobile app builder, which is the ability to show live preview representations of the mobile application inside mobile app builder.
yes.
Now this is a big one, and this is like you were asking me what my favorite feature is. This is maybe 1A of 1A and 1B, but it's the ability, like you're working on, say for example, creating a list screen in mobile.
Mhm.
Right there in that right hand panel that we've always had in mobile app builder, where traditionally we've just had static images of like representative representations of what you're putting together. Now as you're building, you'll on that preview you'll start off with an empty state that says, keep working on your configuration here, and we'll show you what you're going to get. And as you build it, that preview updates to give you a representation, like an actual representation of what you're configuring. So you'll be
Yes.
able to see what your list screen looks like without having to go to an emulator or pull out your phone and connect to your instance. So I think that's one of the coolest features that we've added in a while, and we're going to continue expanding that going forward until we have previews for all the items, all the mobile components in Mobile App Builder.
Nice.
But I think what, again, 1A, 1B of favorite items is we've also added what we're calling web to mobile, a web
Mhm.
to mobile capability in Mobile App Builder. And so the idea there is if you've already built something in your web platform and you want the mobile equivalent of it in Mobile App Builder, or I'm
Mhm.
sorry, in your mobile apps, traditionally you could either import that basically as an embedded web screen, which isn't always the best experience on mobile. Like if you don't build that web screen specifically to be displayed on mobile, you're going to have some UI problems.
Yeah.
Or you could go manually rebuild it in mobile platform. But that creates its own overhead, right? You've now got a second thing that you've got to go build. And again, you got to learn our schema and all that. And we've seen that as a friction point for our customers.
Mhm.
I want to do it, but I don't necessarily have the developer hours to put towards it, learning something new, developing something new. So this web to mobile feature that we've added allows you to go pick that web item that you've already created
Mhm.
and then through scripting and some generative AI, we will translate that into an equivalent mobile platform component
Very
automatically.
nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So you run through like a little bit of a wizard experience, and on the output, you get a preview of what you're going to get, so you can look at it and see if that's what you're looking for. If yes, continue. If no, you can go back and make tweaks. But we've started with the ability to take a web form and convert that into a mobile record screen.
Mm-hmm.
That's available. We actually did that in Zurich in Yokohama, and then in the quarterly release between Yokohama and Zurich. And in that quarterly release, we also added a capability to use Now Assist to generate mobile cards for you.
Mm.
Again, those mobile cards are some of the more complex things to put together. So, just by picking a web form that you've already created, now you can get an entire mobile component with the card created for you. And again, this is going to be one of the pillars of configuration simplification that we're doing in Mobile App Builder going forward. So look for more of that in the future, in the future releases.
Well, is there anything you'd like to tease in future releases? No, I'm just kidding. I always like to do that.
My Safe Harbors tattoo from Knowledge is worn off, so I don't have that to put up on screen right now.
Fair enough. I always like to tease our product team because I have them come and be like, here's all the stuff we just made. I go, well, what's next? They're like, we just put it out. I'm like, yeah. But everyone wants to know what's next, especially the start of the alphabet. What an interesting release, to make it to the end feels like a very full circle journey, especially for things like this mobile platform. It's been revolutionary how much it's grown and changed, especially under your leadership. So it's really fantastic to see even what's still coming out with Zurich. Mm-hmm. Now, thinking towards, people that are feeling very inspired by everything they've heard today, from C3 to all these new features coming out in Zurich, is there any place that you'd recommend really basic beginners to start their mobile enablement journey?
Yeah, I would, the traditional is going to our product docs, and I'll definitely plug that. We've got, I think, a lot of good overview information there, and it really does have all the information you need to learn how to do the configurations, but also what our capabilities are. With that, though, I would recommend also getting onto YouTube and finding our Mobile App Academy series. Our outbound product manager, David Ha, has done a great job of building, a large video library on how to build our mobile applications. Another thing that I will sneak peek for you is we are in the process of working on some updated Now Learning content, or now ServiceNow University content.
Yes.
And so keep an eye out for that, because I think once that drops, that'll really be a good starting point.
Even better. Love to promo ServiceNow University. That's a great new site.
Absolutely.
And anyone looking for the Mobile App Academy, that is on the Platform Academy YouTube channel. I will plug that in the description down below if you're listening to this on the audio podcast, as well as the actual YouTube description as well if you're watching on video. Awesome. What a fantastic episode, David. Is there any kind of final mentions that you'd like to make for today's Breakpoint episode?
No, I appreciate the time. It's, we want to get our message out there, help people understand what mobile platform can do and that it is achievable. Might take a little bit of time to learn our unique dialect of ServiceNow, but once you do, there's a lot that you can do on the platform.
Well, actions speak louder than words. I don't think anything speaks louder than this awesome C3 app that you've made in conjunction with my team. So again, huge hats off to anything that makes CreatorCon a better experience. I am a huge, huge, huge fan of. So thank you for all the extra work that you and your team did for that. And thank you, wonderful listener, for joining us here today. Don't forget to check out the other wonderful ServiceNow podcasts. You can find them at the ServiceNow community site. Subscribe to this podcast completely for free. You can get that at any place that podcasts can be provided, either Apple Podcasts, Spotify, what have you, or also on our ServiceNow Dev Program YouTube channel if you'd like the video version, which showcases these cool C3 cards. So don't miss out. To find out more about the ServiceNow Developer Program, head to developer.servicenow.com. That is where you can get your free PDI, and anything after Tech Now, you can get one in the Zurich release. Again, thank you so much. Stay hungry, stay humble, and I'll see you all in the next episode. Bye.
Please let us know what you think about this podcast. You can leave feedback or ask questions in the ServiceNow community. For more great information on ServiceNow development, check out the ServiceNow Developer Portal at developer.servicenow.com. Thanks for listening.